you're watching Afox, and as you can see, I'm just killing myself here. Pretty standard for me in Destiny. I end up killing myself quite a lot, just like misadventures. It's not good. So as you can tell, I'm doing a bit of PvE combat here for a change. I thought I'd show you guys this instead of some Crucible stuff, because I think a lot of people usually show Crucible when they're playing Destiny and talking about it, etc, etc, and you know, I think the PvE part of the game is actually just as important and just as fun, and I think it's quite entertaining to watch too. I think you get a lot more badass moments anyway with PvE as opposed to PvP combat anyway. But yeah, as you can see, oh, my cat's meowing at me. Does she have to? Can you hear her? Matey, this is not the time. But as I was trying to say, here I am doing a bit of mini boss battles, I guess I'm going to call them. They're like basically mini events that start happening now. You know, you had on the first DLC with the Dark Below, you've had the Crota spawning on Earth and the Moon. Now on Venus you also get these group of Fallen spawn every now and then in different locations, and it's like 3 or 4 waves of enemies, and they get gradually more difficult each round, as you can see, and then you get this final guy at the end, like this little mini boss I suppose, and you have to defeat him, and then you get rewards at the end of it. A chest appears, of which you'll be able to see right now. We're going to, and it was spawned within the vicinity somewhere around the area. If you've not done it before, you will probably not know where you're going, and you probably missed the first chest, because you only have 1 minute and 30 seconds to find this chest. As you can see in the left hand corner, it says F a key, and then it's counting down as a timer, and that's the amount of time that you have to find this chest. But luckily it is really easy to see, because as you can see, it's like bright yellow, and it's also the one that most people already know where it is. You're kind of thankful for that, because before the DLC came out, this little map thing was going on anyway, so we kind of got an understanding of where things were. So it means that if you're not doing this alone, like you're not doing these waves of enemies by yourself, the other person will probably know where it is anyway, so you don't really have much trouble. And it usually spawns in the same place in each area, like in each location. It spawns in the exact same spot each time. The time between each time of these events is like 10-15 minutes. I spent about an hour in this location alone with this guy who I'm playing with, who's actually really fun. It's quite nice to have that communication with somebody that's not quite necessarily like verbal, but it's just more of a physical thing. Like here, as you can see, I'm trying to get his attention. I spent about 10 minutes trying to get him to come over to me, but I kind of like that communication. I think it's quite fun. But yeah, I spent about an hour with this guy just going back and forth between doing these big events and then doing side missions, like the little mini missions that you can pick up, as long as it didn't involve me going to different areas, because of course that would have meant I would have left him, and then doing this like collecting chests and stuff, which was really fun. So it kind of adds a little bit more to do in each area, so you're not so bored, because sometimes if you're farming for Glimmer or just farming to kill enemies or whatever, because you've got specific bounties you need to do, it can get a little bit boring in the area. So I think this adds this made me laugh so much when I did this. I started crying with laughter, because I was like, really? Are you fucking serious? Like, he get up there fine, and I'm the one that's telling him to come get this chest, and I fucking like flopped like a tit. But back to what I was originally talking about, which is these new events that kind of happen. You basically pick up the bounty from the Queen's Wrath woman, which is she's called Petra, and she's in the Reef. You don't need the DLC to actually do these missions. You can actually pick up the bounties and do them anyway, and you can rank up your Queen's Wrath without actually having the DLC, which is quite nice. I think that's a really good thing that you can do, that you can actually start working towards it, because it means if you haven't got the money at the time, you're not necessarily restricted to waiting until you have the cash to be able to like start working towards getting rewards in the end of it anyway. So yeah, you can rank up your Queen's Wrath by doing these events, as long as the bounty is actually set to defeat this exact boss or whatever he is. I can't remember from the top of my head how many days it is between when each bounty refreshes, but I know there's several days it lasts before it refreshes. It's not like your normal bounties where you have 1 day to complete it and then another day. It's kind of a little bit slower than that, which is, I think it's a good thing, because it means that you can't, you know, like rank up super quick. It means it's a little bit more grindy, yeah, but yeah, it's not too bad. This was terrible. This happens quite a lot actually. You'll find that events will spawn in at the same time as these mini bosses battles, and It's kind of a bit of pain in the ass because it's difficult to do both at the same time, and sometimes they spawn right next to each other, so you end up clicking it and making it go off anyway. That happened to me when I was playing in a different location the other day on Venus, sorry, and I accidentally started shooting the enemies and I set it off. Here I decided to just do it anyway because I was like, you know what, I'm going to be great and do both. Yeah, it kind of went downhill. You'll see. We tried really hard, and for two of us, I think we did pretty good anyway. This one isn't particularly easy out of all of them. I think defend the wall stats a little bit easier than prevent the Vex from sacrificing, because especially when it gets to like the higher realms and they're all really difficult and it's so annoying. A bit less sidetracking and more what I think of the actual DLC itself. I think it's great. It's really good. I haven't finished doing the campaign, the news story missions, because they're just so impossible to do on your own, for me anyway, because I'm not very good. But it is really difficult because some of it is a lot higher ranked than what I am, and I'm only level 31, so I'm a little bit disadvantaged. And if I'm not playing with somebody who's a higher level or like as equally good as me, then it's a little bit challenging. I have failed to I spent like an hour failing doing one mission with somebody because it was just really difficult. So it is quite time consuming, but they are really fun missions and they are really challenging and interesting. Most of them I found that you're just going through the same places you've already experienced, but backwards. So you're literally doing the missions, like going through the mission locations, but the opposite way around, which is a little bit weird. It kind of feels like you're reversing the stories, but it is what it is. As for the Crucible maps, they're really good. I really like the Crucible maps. There's one that's like at a church or something like that, and it looks really, really cool. I love like earthy stuff. That's why I really love Venus, because it's like earthy and like pretty, and it just has a really nice aesthetic feeling to it. And one of the maps on Crucible has that feeling to it, which is great. And there's new weapons as well. I haven't really gotten a chance to test out the weapons so much. When I do get a hold of some new weapons, I'm going to do not some loadout videos obviously, but I'm going to do some little quick talk about what I think of them. There's a new gun that you get at the beginning of this game, well at the beginning of the DLC anyway. Petra gives it to you, so it's actually free anyway, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview of that gun. In Crucible, it is pretty badass. I've seen a lot of people using it and it is really effective, especially at close range. It's not very good for long range, but yeah, I'll talk about that in another video. And I quickly wanted to mention some other side things, like the fact that The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt just appeared from my door. It's a bank holiday, and I didn't think that I'd get next day delivery because it was going to be to turn up on a bank holiday Monday, but it turned up anyway, so good thing that, because I spent like £5 on a delivery because I'm really impatient. And it's got so much stuff on it. Definitely get the disc version, because you get some stickers, you get a little storytelling book which gives you information about the game, you get a really nice smelling map which looks really cool. You also get a manual on like the controls thing, and I feel like manuals are so old-fashioned. I don't know, I never feel like we get really good manuals anymore in game, which really sucks, because the discs, like, it used to be like discs used to have massive manuals in them. Now we don't, we have like 2 pages. And also there's free DLC content in it, so that's really great. And this isn't even like the premium edition or something, so that's really awesome. Here, as you can see, I went to the chest because I thought it was going to be there, and I realized that I got way too engrossed in doing this thing, and I failed this, and I also missed the chest, so I completely fucked that all up. But it felt badass anyway. So while me and this guy sort of dwell on the fact that we completely failed everything that we just did, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a Q&A in a couple of weeks time, so if you want to leave questions for that, drop them down below. Anyway, I'll be back with a new video soon, but until next time, bye!